graduation day for PSU nursing students, and they're about to enter a world still dealing with a deadly pandemic. We'll hear their thoughts on that coming up.
How the uncertain fate of the federal eviction moratorium affects area renters. And what's next after Missouri lawmakers failed to pass funding for the voter-approved Medicaid expansion.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A chance for some stormy weather creeps into the weekend forecast. This is KOAM News at 10. We go straight to meteorologist Nick Kelly.
Good evening, Della, and we saw a sneak preview of that today with some scattered rain and even a couple of thunderstorms earlier this afternoon especially. Despite that, we did manage to turn things mild after a cool start at 40. We did hit a high of 66 degrees this afternoon. Not seeing anything out there right now on the radar network at the top of the 10 o'clock hour. It is nice to see things quiet down for a little bit after we had a scattering of showers and thunderstorms late this morning and early this afternoon. I'm not concerned about these thunderstorms working across western Oklahoma, but with the advancing warm front working through during the overnight, that's what could bring additional storms overnight. Right now, though, we're kind of chilly, but not too bad, upper 50s to near 60. And I think we're going to hold steady as we see those additional chances for storms fire up in our northeastern counties overnight. Otherwise, we'll all start chilly, with overnight lows dropping out to 57. And aside from maybe a few random showers during the 10 o'clock hour, I think most of the day is partly sunny and will definitely turn warm with a good south wind in place. We'll reach highs around 81. So now, much of our Saturday is looking okay, but it's tomorrow night into Sunday morning. That is when we could see maybe some strong and possibly severe weather roll our way. We'll break that down for you in the rest of the forecast here in a bit.
All right, see you then. Thanks, Nick. PSU concluded its spring semester today with a graduation and pinning ceremony for the graduates of the Irene Ransom Bradley School of Nursing. The school's newest crop of nurses will enter a world that continues to deal with a deadly pandemic. And KOAM's Mike Mahoney asked some of the grads how they feel about that.
They may not have graduated in front of a packed auditorium because of COVID-19 precautions, but that wouldn't take away from the special day of PSU's newest class of nursing students. In fact, the current pandemic has many of them all the more eager to get out there and save lives.
Just the sheer amount of people here that are graduating today shows me that we just have people that aren't afraid and are able to get out there.
It is rewarding to be able to get, as soon as fresh out of the gates, we're still in the middle of this pandemic and able to help out.
Not only will these nurses be a great help in the fight against the coronavirus, they're also helping a nation that's dealing with a nursing shortage.
I think it feels really good to be able to graduate and say that I'm going into a profession where we need people.
It took a lot of hard work for these nurses to get here, and the pandemic didn't make things any easier.
The whole virtual semester, when for COVID, kind of hit our area, it was tough. Going from being in person the whole time to going virtual.
But for some graduates like Cindy Miles, that virtual learning had a silver lining. That's because she wants to pursue a career in telehealth.
There was a lot of bureaucratic red tape involved with preventing telehealth from being something that was going forward before, but I think at this point they've realized just how useful it really is.
In Pittsburgh, Mike Mahoney, KOAM News.
Among today's PSU nursing graduates were the first nurses to go through the new nurse practitioner residency program, which was made possible by a partnership between Pitt State and the Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas. The federal stay on evictions will continue until July, at least, after a court ruling saying to end it. A district court in Washington, D.C. ruled this week that the CDC exceeded its authority when implementing a nationwide eviction moratorium. The moratorium has kept landlords from evicting tenants and haven't been able to pay rent. A temporary stay was put on the ruling, meaning the moratorium for now will continue until the end of June. But experts say renters should prepare now for when the order is lifted, because once that happens, all of their back rent will be due.
They can work with local agencies to kind of relief agencies and apply for grants and help and aid in that sense. But landlords will be able to start that process of evicting renters. For renters, if they are behind and there are no more protections, really the best thing that they can do is begin to have a conversation with their landlord.
We have information on some rental assistance programs on our website. That's KOAMnewsnow.com. CCAP will stop accepting applications for its rental assistance program next week. The deadline to apply for rental assistance is on 4 p.m. May 14th. The program assist qualifying individuals and families with rental subsidies and/or security and utility deposits. A bill to legalize medical marijuana has passed in the Kansas House for the first time, but the state Senate is not expected to consider it in the final days of the annual session. Although some legalization advocates were hopeful that strong support for the bill among Republicans in the House would spur Senate leaders to debate it this session, the Senate President Ty Masterson spokesperson said that a budget bill and school funding legislation have taken priority this week. Missouri lawmakers have approved a $35 billion budget that includes no funding for Medicaid expansion approved by voters. The budget increases funding for public schools, universities, hospitals, and nursing homes. Republicans said it also includes more money for the current Medicaid program, but not to expand coverage to thousands of low-income adults as laid forth in a 2020 constitutional amendment. Governor Mike Parson's administration says it will evaluate its legal requirements on what to do next regarding the Medicaid expansion. While lawmakers didn't pass funding for the voter-approved Medicaid expansion, the House did vote in favor of creating Rush Limbaugh Day. They tacked at the provision on another bill, which then passed the chamber. Several Missouri state lawmakers have proposed honoring the late Limbaugh every January 12th, his birthday. The Cape Girardeau native gained national fame before he died in February at age 70 with a long battle with cancer. Supporters say Limbaugh was a conservative icon worthy of the honor. Opponents slammed his rhetoric as divisive. A Carl Junction, Missouri man gets prison time for transporting a Kansas minor across state lines for sexual activity. A federal judge gives 31-year-old Nathan Belcher 12 years in prison without parole. Officials say Belcher pled guilty in 2019 to transporting the minor across state lines and having sexual activity on 2 occasions. Belcher must also serve 20 years supervised release after his 12-year prison sentence. The Independence, Kansas Police Department says someone died in a house fire today. They're not releasing the name of the victim. Crews responded to the fire on North 24th Street this morning. Authorities do not believe the death was caused by, quote, criminal activity. The state fire marshal responded to the scene to assist in the investigation. Still ahead, why some health experts say it's looking more likely that we're going to need a COVID-19 vaccine booster. And Pfizer looks to gain full approval for its vaccine from the FDA. There's emerging evidence that people need not only 2 full doses of the COVID-19 vaccine, but eventually maybe a third. Mandy Gaither has more.
Across the U.S., COVID-19 vaccine eagerness continues to level off. The average daily pace of doses reported to be given is down 20% from last week. But top U.S. health officials are working toward a goal of getting 70% of Americans at least 1 dose by July 4th.
I think we're going to be able to do it, and I think it's by changing a little bit of the strategy.
Moving away from mass vaccination sites to walk-in vaccines at local pharmacies and mobile unit vaccinations. Meanwhile, more evidence that people not only need 2 full doses of the vaccine, but may eventually need a third to boost immunity.
One would expect that also immunized people at some point will have waning immune responses and need boosters.
According to Pfizer's chief medical officer, the latest data shows the company's COVID-19 vaccine is still 90% effective in preventing symptomatic disease 6 months after being fully vaccinated.
We will continue to monitor this in order to get an understanding about when and how often boosters are needed.
Vaccine maker Moderna said a booster shot for its coronavirus vaccine revs up the immune response against 2 worrying variants. A booster dose formulated specifically to match the variant first seen in South Africa was even more effective. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
To take on variants, Moderna's president says COVID-19 vaccine boosters will probably be needed every 9 to 12 months. Pfizer has become the first pharmaceutical company to ask the Food and Drug Administration for full approval of its COVID vaccine. Like Moderna and Johnson & Johnson's vaccines, Pfizer's COVID shot is currently being administered under emergency use authorization. The company says it's already distributed 170 million doses of its vaccine, which is enough to vaccinate half that number of people. Pfizer and BioNTech have asked the FDA for priority review. That process still takes 6 months after the agency receives all preclinical and clinical trial data. At the same time, Pfizer is also applying to extend its emergency use to include children ages 12 to 15. If the FDA approves that request, it would become the first vaccine available to people in that age bracket. We're not skimping on mom this Mother's Day, it seems. The National Retail Federation says Mother's Day spending is expected to total $28 billion. That's up by more than $1 billion from 2020. According to the group's annual survey, consumers plan to spend an average of $220. Nearly half of respondents say they're giving mom a special outing, such as brunch or other activity. This is slightly up from 2020, but still below pre-pandemic levels. Later, Missouri Southern ace Zach Parrish breaks a school record as the Lions take on Rogers State.
Plus, I'll be tracking storm chances tonight and for tomorrow night as well. Full forecast up next. Even though we had to start the weekend out with cloud cover and some rain chances working back in, we managed to at least hit the mid-60s after a cool start this morning. So it was quite a warm-up despite the time-lapse from indigo skies showing sunny skies to start, then the cloud cover ramping up and at times passing rain and even a couple of storms over the casino grounds outside of Seneca, Missouri. And it wasn't just the casino grounds that saw rain today. During the late morning, early afternoon hours, good scattering of rain and thunderstorms ahead of our next storm system ready to roll in. For much of this evening, though, we've been staying fairly quiet with not much to speak on the radar, but over the past 30 minutes or so, if we really cut through the ground clutter, we do note a couple showers already trying to percolate around Humboldt, Yates Center, Neosho Falls, and then working up north along US 75. So that's just the beginning of more moisture starting to bubble up, and that will result in some additional scattered storms for some of us overnight. For most of us, though, we're sitting quiet. 59 in Joplin with the southeast breeze at 8 and that humidity sitting at 62%. Around the rest of the Joplin metro, we're sitting mainly between 57 and 60 degrees, and that's the same story across the rest of the four-state area. Upper 50s to near 60, and I don't think we'll drop off much more from here on out. Most of us maybe mid to upper 50s as we continue with mostly cloudy skies in place and waiting for that next round of rain and thunderstorms to develop. Again, it's not from these thunderstorms working across central parts of Oklahoma. Those are going to stay mainly to our south. But as our warm front starts to work in from the southwest, that's going to be the focal point for additional scattered storms overnight. Not expecting anything severe out of that, but we're watching the trailing cold front for our Saturday night, and along with this upper low, that'll help aid in the thunderstorm chances, not only for tonight, but tomorrow night as well. So let's break down these rain chances. Doing a good job, the future track showing not a lot happening right now with a good deal of cloud cover in place. But as soon as I take you to 11 o'clock, you can see the radar coming to life with a good scattering of showers and thunderstorms through the overnight, mainly affecting our northeastern counties. And once these develop, we're not expecting these to be severe, but they can pack a little bit of a punch with some heavy rainfall at times, small hail, even some minor wind gusts. But again, not expecting these to turn severe. They're out of here by sunrise with temperatures sitting mainly in the mid to upper 50s. And aside from maybe a couple extra showers late in the morning, I think much of Saturday is dry, and we're going to definitely warm up with partly sunny skies and a good south wind. 57 in the morning, 75 by noon, highs around 81. So late Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening overall looks okay, but here's 9 o'clock. We notice another development of thunderstorms wanting to mainly work along the I-70 corridor just to our north. But if this complex of storms can graze our far northern counties, that could be a strong to severe threat, taking us into the early morning hours on Sunday before we deal with just leftover rain chances for Sunday morning, and then followed by a quiet Mother's Day. It's a low severe threat that could graze our far northern counties between 9 o'clock tomorrow night and 3 a.m. Sunday morning. We're keeping the threats fairly low, though, but I'll keep an eye out for wind, hail, and potentially heavy rainfall before we see temperatures drop to about 70 on Mother's Day with thankfully a dry Sunday afternoon. 60 on Monday, mid-60s Tuesday and Wednesday with additional rain chances down, but then we're dry by the end of next week and highs back to 77 on Friday.
Some nice opportunities this Mother's Day weekend.
Yeah, there will be dry time to be had.
Thanks. Hey, it's art crawl time in Pittsburgh. The usual art walk scheduled for spring was canceled because of the pandemic. And as an alternative, the Pittsburgh Art Walk Committee organized this week-long event so people could support local artists while still practicing social distancing. In addition to the physical artwork, businesses participating in the art crawl display QR codes on outside windows linking to songs from local musicians. The Pittsburgh Art Crawl wraps up tomorrow at 5. Coming up in sports, the Missouri Southern softball team is moving on to the MIAA tournament semifinals. Plus, Lions pitcher Zach Parrish breaks the Division II career strikeout record. Jacob Leonard has that and more next.
This weekend is the final weekend of the regular season for MIAA baseball. The Missouri Southern Lions are at home for their final 3 games before the conference tournament, hosting Rogers State. Now they're playing 2 today. We'll get right into game 1. A huge day for that guy. Southern pitcher Zach Parrish, top of the first inning. Parrish gets the strikeout, his first of the day. More from him in just a moment. Bottom half, Troy Gagnon back up the middle. Jordan Fitzpatrick scores. It's a big inning for Moso. Second time through the lineup already. Henry Kusiak with 2 on. 3-run jack to left. Lions score 11 runs in the first. Back to Parrish on the mound, though. Another strikeout for the senior. Then, this is the big one. This strikeout is the 474th career strikeout for Parrish. That is a new Division II all-time record. Southern wins at 12-6. Zach Parrish is the new Division II strikeout king.
It means the world to me, honestly. I mean, I had a chance to come back and play this year, and then I knew the number was in reach. I mean, so I just had to give it my best shot, and then whatever played out happened.
Zach's just a once-in-a-career player for a coach, and very proud of him. He's also getting his degree on Saturday, which, you know, he put a lot of work in to do that. Very proud of him on so many levels.
In Game 2, Rogers State wins at 7-2 after scoring 5 runs in the 8th. The 2 teams will wrap up the 3-game series tomorrow afternoon. The Pittsburgh State Gorillas kick off their final series today with a doubleheader against Emporia State. In the 3rd inning, Cruz Aranda getting all this one over the right field wall. 2-run homer. Gorillas on the board. And the next batter, Ryan Koval, makes it back-to-back. Solo homer in about the same spot. PSU within 1. Later, Sam Chaput, line drive up the middle for the base hit. 2-run score. Turned into a big inning for the Hornets. They go up 10-3. Pitt State, though, not going away. Brett Daly in the 9th. 2-run jack to left center. It's a 1-run game. Emporia State, though, would finish a tight one. Hornets win it 11-10. At Game 2, not as close as Game 1. Gorillas fall 11-4. The series finale is tomorrow afternoon at 1. The Crowder College Rough Riders finished the regular season with a 44-6 overall record, claiming a regular season regional championship. Now, it's playoff time for the 6th-ranked Rough Riders. Crowder at home today, the sub-regional matchup against 3 Rivers. Top of the first, throw down to second allows Lane Barrymore to come home from 3rd. Raiders lead by 3. Bottom of the frame, though, Landry Wilkerson puts it through the right side. That brings Peyton Holt home from 2nd. Then with the bases loaded, ball 4 there brings Wilkerson home. Rough Riders within 1. The bottom of the 2nd now. Pitch gets away, allows a runner to score. Riders tie the game. They would go up 2 through 5. And then in the 6th, Jack Stroth, big swing here. 3-run homer over the fence and left. Crowder takes Game 1 tonight 11-3. Game 2 is tomorrow at noon. Well, it's also playoff time for the Missouri Southern softball team. Southern has a 3-game series against Missouri Western to kick off the quarterfinal round of the MIAA Conference Tournament. Now, the Lions are the number 3 seed after going 28-13-1 in the regular season. And they went down 4-0 in the top of the 2nd. Here they come. Tara Amos all the way to the fence in center. Ashlyn Williams scores the Lions' first run. Moments later, first and third for Yasmin Vargas. Nice piece of hitting there, scores Adriana Young. Then Michaela Linhart's turn back up the middle. Sydney Hirsch scores. It's now tied up. Finally, bases loaded for Leighton Withers. Thought she had a grand slam here. Off the fence and right. Scores all three. Lions score 7 in the second. They hang on to win this one 7-5. Game 2. Lions make it a sweep. Withers gets the 2-run walk-off. They move on to the tournament semifinals. That's it for sports. We're back with more news after this.
We're here to help.
May 8th.
We take some time now to honor a local veteran, Kyle Dement. The Lamar, Missouri native served in the U.S. Army during Operations Enduring Freedom and Iraqi Freedom, and we are proud to salute Kyle Dement. He's tonight's 4-state hero. You can learn about lots of other heroes, hundreds of them from all across this area. You can also submit a hero of your own anytime, and we're always looking for more veterans and currently serving service members to honor. Just drop us a line at our website. Click on the link at koamnewsnow.com. Checking back with Nick Kelly. Not a washout by any means, but some showers possible this weekend.
Yeah, mainly nighttime chances for rain and storms now. Thankfully, with daytime hours looking dry. I'll keep an eye on storms for our northeast counties overnight and for tomorrow night and Sunday. Otherwise, Saturday, quiet during the day with highs near 81 and 70. Mostly cloudy but dry on Mother's Day.
Whatever you do, don't forget Mom on Sunday. Thanks for joining us. Let's take care of ourselves and each other.
If you